A while back, I saw a pretty scary video of a baseball fan plummeting 2 stories onto the field during a game. And I assumed he either passed away from that or was like paralyzed. And I didn't hear any updates or anything for a little while, so I had forgotten about that even happening until today, where the first video that got recommended to me from this benevolent algorithm is a follow-up to that from a day ago. It's like the algorithm mind-freaked me, just jacked into my fucking cerebral cortex and knew that I never got closure on that, so it wanted to provide it for me so I would, finally know exactly what happened to this guy.
It's the terrifying tumble from the outfield stands. A baseball fan plunges 2 stories down to the outfield track.
Someone must have fallen. They have emergency crews in right center field right now.
The game comes to a stop. The players in disbelief, some down on bended knee, praying as the fan is carted off on a stretcher. Now, that fan is breaking his silence for the first time, speaking exclusively to Inside Edition.
The title of the video spoiled it, but the fan he's alive and walking. I thought for sure, watching that fall, if he didn't die from it, he would be in a wheelchair, like doing interviews in a wheelchair. But he's not. He's up walking around. He did suffer extensive injuries, but it seems like he's doing a lot better, and hopefully it won't be like permanent, life-changing, down the road, debilitating injuries. Even the fact that he is up and moving around like this is unbelievable, considering the fall he took and landing on his head. It looks like he lands directly on his neck and then just kind of like folds like origami on the ground there. That's a miracle, because that footage that's horrifying. That man ragdolls like it's fucking Killer Bean, and he hits the ground hard. He even bounces up off the ground a little bit, like that scene from iCarly with Gibby going from the fucking top turnbuckle of the set, blasting his belly off the concrete, which, by the way, was a real stuntman who actually got seriously injured doing that. It is crazy that he is just tanking that. Like, he just fucking took that on the chin. He ate that, and now he looks like he is on the road to recovery and will hopefully not be having any permanent lasting effects from it. I was so surprised, and pleasantly surprised, to see that.
What's it like for you to watch this?
I don't know how I'm alive.
Kevin Markwood's injuries were staggering. A broken back, a broken neck, a punctured lung, and every rib also broken.
I wake up with pain every day. My arm, I can't feel my 2 fingers still. I'm doing better than what I was, that's for sure.
So, what happened? Kevin says he jumped up out of his seat and got excited about a play in the game, but when he came down, he landed awkwardly on this railing, careening off of it and falling headfirst 21 feet onto the field. You almost do 2 full flips.
He's right, he does almost do 2 full flips. More like aerial cartwheels, but semantics, we're not here to talk about, trapeze acrobatics here, aerial maneuvers or anything. But yeah, it is a devastating fall. And like I said, he did have extensive injuries, and he is saying he does wake up with pain, but it's getting better. And those injuries that he's listing, those seem like things that he will be able to make a recovery from. And just the fact he's up walking, able to do these interviews, and just a cast on his arm is nothing shy of miraculous.
Yeah, that was bad.
This is the first time Kevin's been back to Pittsburgh's PNC Park since his harrowing fall. Kevin was at the game with his girlfriend and another buddy. Although Kevin was only 20 years old at the time and underage, he says his buddy bought him some beers that night. Now, the fall was ruled accidental, but his friend has been charged with supplying alcohol to a minor. Look, you can see his concerned buddy climb down to the outfield wall and jump off to check on Kevin.
I feel terrible because it wasn't his fault.
According to this police report, Kevin's girlfriend told detectives he only drank 2 beers before that fateful fall. 2
beers? Are we sure about that? Is that the accurate number of brewskis consumed this evening? I'm no super sleuth. I'm not, fucking hired private eye detective here, but he is shirt off, jumping up and down in the stands here. Something tells me probably a little more than 2 beers. If I had $1 for every time I heard someone say 2 beers when it comes to how much alcohol was drank before something happened, I would actually have close to like $1 billion by this point. 2 beers has to be one of the most commonly uttered statements in human history. Now, Cavan's friend, who spent probably close to $500 on those 2 beers for him, he did get slapped a bit. He got in some trouble here for supplying Cavan with those beverages since he wasn't 21. But I have to imagine that overall he feels relieved that Cavan not only survived such a freak fall like that, but also that he will be able to walk, like move on from this. Because it does seem like he cares about Cavan. Like he jumped onto the field after him to check on him. Like it seems like he very much was concerned, does care. So even though he himself did get into some doo-doo from all of this, I imagine he's probably just feeling relieved that Cavan survived this.
This had nothing to do with drinking.
Nah.
This was just an accident.
Right. Tragic accident.
As for going out to the ball game again, he says next time he definitely won't sit so high up in the stands.
I hate to be, ye old Ebenezer Scrooge here, but I'm going to have to throw a flag on the play on this one as well. I'm going to have to challenge this. Are we sure drinking had nothing to do with what happened here? I have a sneaking suspicion it might have. I just feel like if alcohol wasn't involved, shirt probably would have been on, and probably wouldn't have been jumping around like he was on an invisible pogo stick. That just has all the telltale signs of being a little sloshed. He grabs that railing and then does that big jump, like he jumps on it. It reminds me of those wacky trampoline fitness courses where you have a bunch of people like holding a rail and jumping up and down crazy style on the trampoline. I just feel like, I think maybe the drinking did have something to do with it. And I also think that him being drunk most likely saved his life. I remember reading that in the events of accidents, the reason a lot of the drunk drivers walk away relatively unharmed is apparently because when the body is in the inebriated state, it doesn't tense up the way that it normally would. So by being all loosey-goosey, it sometimes is able to avoid catastrophic injuries, and in this case, a potentially fatal one. I think by him being drunk and all like loose, he was able to basically survive this and now walk away from it. Anyway, though, I wanted to share this here because I feel like a lot of people saw that video like me and just made the assumption that this guy is probably either dead or, paralyzed. And apparently that's not the case. Inside Edition has this interview with him. He seems to be moving around. He does mention that he still wakes up with pain every day, but that it is trending in the right direction. And it seems like he will, continue on this road to recovery, which is incredible. Actually, just incredible. So the algorithm said, Charles, you didn't get closure on this story. Here you go. It's a happy ending. Well, it's a happier ending than you thought it was. He's alive and he is doing better. So that's pretty cool. Wishing him even more healing and hopefully makes a completely full recovery. That's really about it. See ya. Yesterday, Gordon Ramsay jump-scared everyone by revealing he'd been in a serious accident and said that the helmet he was wearing actually saved his life. And he also thanked the doctors and everyone that took care of him in the hospital from it. And basically it's a message kind of urging everyone to wear a helmet when cycling.
Hi guys, it's Gordon. I'd like to share a very important message with you all. You know how much I love cycling and triathlons and Ironman, etc. This week, unfortunately, I had a really bad accident and it really shook me. And honestly, I'm lucky to be here.
He really does seem shaken up by this whole experience here. When I think of Gordon Ramsay, I immediately think of him calling someone an idiot sandwich and yelling and screaming. So if I had heard that Gordon Ramsay got into a bike accident, I would immediately assume that he got off the bike, started shaking his fist at it and calling it a fucking donkey or something and spitting on the bike. But then he'd walk away unscathed, unfazed, and throw a grilled cheese in the fireplace and just take a big old bite out of it. But in this case, that's just not what happened. Whatever the accident was, it really has taken some kind of toll on Gordon, and he's trying to educate people on the importance of helmets and how it actually saved his life. Now, this is a lesson that people have heard a million times in their life. I'm pretty sure this has been taught more than the multiplication tables in elementary school. Everyone knows you should wear a helmet when cycling. But in current day and age, a lot of people just don't give a fuck about that anymore. They just kind of wipe their ass with safety for the sake of, like, convenience, maybe. but in my area in particular, there's a ton of cyclists. They swarm, and I almost never see any of them wearing helmets, which I always find odd because what's the point in playing Life on Ultra Nightmare mode? It takes like 5 additional seconds to just throw on a helmet real quick, and it could be a game changer. To me, the risk versus reward ratio here is all cattywampus. It's not computing up here. I don't see why you wouldn't just wear a helmet to be safe. It's not like you get some kind of like additional benefit out of not wearing one, so I don't really understand it, but I'm not your fucking dad. If you want to go out there without a helmet on and I see you on the sidewalk, I'm not going to slam on my brake and drift my car in sideways, so I'll get out and start, giving you a spanking and telling you that you're being naughty for not wearing a helmet. That's fucking your choice to make, I suppose. I think it's a silly one, though, and I really appreciate that Gordon Ramsay's coming forward and using his platform to just try and educate people again on how important a helmet is and how it can actually save your life.
Now, from those incredible trauma surgeons, doctors, nurses in the hospital that looked after me this week, they were amazing. But honestly, you've got to wear a helmet. I don't care how short the journey is. I don't care, the fact that these helmets cost money, but they're crucial. Even with the kids, a short journey, they've got to wear a helmet. Now, I'm lucky to be standing here. I'm in pain. It's been a brutal week, and I'm sort of getting through it. But I cannot tell you the importance of wearing a helmet.
That is a gnarly bruise right there. Calling that a bruise is doing it a disservice. When I bang my knee on this desk when I get excited, I'll sometimes bruise. That is like you got hit by 5 sledgehammers. That looks like the damage you would suffer if One Punch Man accidentally flicked you in the oblique. That is a crazy amount of bruising. I don't know how he's standing.
This weekend is massive. It's Father's Day for new fathers, old fathers, middle-aged fathers. I want to wish you all a very happy Father's Day. But please, 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 please wear a helmet, because if I didn't, honestly, I wouldn't be here now. Happy Father's Day.
An unexpected video from Gordon Ramsay, but an appreciated one. Like, he's just sharing his first-hand experience here with something traumatic that he went through and how he believes his life was saved thanks to that helmet, and of course the doctors and everyone at the hospital that treated him, and just trying to spread that message. And I think that is nothing but 2 big thumbs up for me there. But Twitter is a different story. Twitter ghouls have this impressive ability, almost like an X-Men level mutation here, it's almost a superpower, to find the stupidest spins on even the most cut and dry situations. Something as simple as, hey, wearing a helmet's good to keep you safe. Maybe you might want to think about doing that. They find a way to turn it into something bad. One intellectual powerhouse replied to Gordon's video saying, "Complete shite, Gordon," and then he dropped this fat little nugget of wisdom here, which is a graph that shows death per billions of kilometers cycled versus the helmet wearing rate percentage of these regions. Imagine being the loveless loser who comes in here going ballistic because a guy who almost lost his life is talking about how a helmet might have saved it. Now, this individual isn't the only one fighting back against Big Helmet here, but he is by far the most adamant. He is tooth and nail in the trenches, still replying as of me making this video like 18 hours later, it seems. So he is definitely their fiercest warrior opposed to helmets. Now, he makes arguments that helmets do nothing to mitigate serious injury. They only help with like scrapes and bruises maybe, but doesn't actually do anything to contribute to cycling safety, and calls them an unnecessary distraction, and then says the big issue that needs to be addressed is fixing infrastructure and driver policing. Now, let's say Gordon Ramsay subscribed to this guy's belief system. He'd be dead. If he viewed helmets as an unnecessary distraction, Gordon Ramsay would be 6 feet under right now, fucking making risottos up in heaven. So, legitimately, he is just wrong about them being an unnecessary distraction. In the situation Gordon Ramsay is describing, without that helmet, he wouldn't have survived. I also just don't understand what it's a distraction from. Is it distracting you from sending your 4,000th tweet in the last 24 hours? Like, how is it an unnecessary distraction? It takes fucking 5 seconds to put a helmet on, and it does help keep you a bit safer. Of course, it doesn't solve every problem magically. Nobody is saying it does. He's fighting a ghost here in the comments. He keeps thinking that everyone's saying that a helmet solves all the biking related issues with like cyclists dying, whatever. Like, that's not what anyone's saying. All they're saying is it does just help your odds, and in this case, it actually did save Gordon Ramsay's life. There's just no reason not to wear a helmet. The main thing he wants is better infrastructure for cyclists, which I do completely agree with, especially in the United States in particular. Having better infrastructure for that is absolutely the safest possible thing for cyclists. He dropped this here talking about how the solution is the infrastructure and that the helmet is an easy out by promoting it. And no one's arguing that a helmet is going to, make sure that cyclists are immortal or anything. But it's just like the easiest thing you can do to immediately improve your odds of surviving something traumatic like Gordon Ramsay experienced here. The beautiful thing about having so many neurons in your brain is that you can actually focus on multiple different things at the same time. You can be saying we need better infrastructure to keep cyclists safe, while also saying, hey, cyclists, helmets do actually help you in the event of an accident. It improves your odds a little bit. You can do both things. Again, a helmet is not this end-all be-all of safety, this panacea that cures any possible problem with like cycling safety, but it is something that undeniably helps. Another thing this cringe vulture and a few others like him do in the comment section is latch on to this idea that we don't wear helmets while driving, which makes everyone a hypocrite because driving causes a lot of head injuries. Basically just keeps reiterating, why aren't you wearing a helmet while driving a car? You absolute goober, when you drive a car, most people wear a seatbelt to improve their odds of surviving a crash. The car is also equipped with safety equipment such as airbags to help keep you alive in the event of a crash. On a bike, what do you have? Did you put an ejector seat on your bike to immediately get out of a tricky situation? You put a baseball card in the spokes of your bike and then installed some fucking airbags down there too to keep you alive? No. The only thing that you can really do here on a bike in this context is wear a helmet. That would be the equivalent of wearing a seatbelt while driving. You're making dog shit arguments for an indefensible position. Don't wear helmets. You're a fucking lunatic. It sounds like you've already hit your head and you want more people to join you there. He even has the gall to say this. The reasons not to wear a helmet is that you take more risky decisions when wearing a helmet and drivers take more risky decisions around you. He's almost saying that it's more dangerous to wear a helmet than it is not to and just raw dog it, which is just ridiculous. It's so silly, I don't even know where to start. So he thinks that cyclists who are wearing a helmet make more risky decisions because they're wearing a helmet. I don't think so. I don't feel like when people put on a helmet, they think that all of a sudden they become Superman. I just don't see that being the case. Just like someone who puts on a seatbelt doesn't immediately think they can fucking ramp off of a parked tow truck like it's GTA 5 and be unscathed. I don't think that's the case for cyclists wearing a helmet. And I really don't think that drivers are going to start treating you different if you're wearing a helmet versus not. Like, I don't think drivers are going to see you wearing a helmet and be like, oh, this guy can take a little bump here and just fucking swerve into him or anything. If you're wearing a helmet, I don't think drivers are going to start making riskier decisions because they think you're in like fucking body armor or anything, versus if you weren't wearing a helmet. I just don't see that being the case in reality at all. He also goes on to say helmets are no use in collisions involving motor vehicles, which fucking obviously. No one's saying that you're going to be able to take a car head on in a game of chicken just because you're wearing a helmet on your bike. It's a stupid argument to make. Oh, well, if my bicycle helmet can't stop a bullet, what the fuck is the point in wearing it, I suppose? I'll just go without. Useless to me now. It's silly. It's super dumb. There's no real good argument you will ever be able to make that wearing a helmet is a bad thing. And Gordon Ramsay's video and message here is just an overwhelmingly positive one, and I'm happy to hear that he's recovering and he's okay. And I'm wishing him the best going forward. And I appreciate that he's sharing this message because clearly it is one that is still somewhat needed here, because there are people out there that don't think helmets are worth wearing, I suppose. So it's not like a useless message either. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I got a bit heated here, clearly, about this anti-helmet rhetoric, which I think is just so fucking dumb that I was baffled. So I dove deep into this rabbit hole here, and I just had to talk about it a little bit. Again, glad Gordon Ramsay's alright. That's about it. So yeah. With all of the drama that was going on Twitch for the last month or so, people expected TwitchCon to be a war zone. Just this battlefield of blood, guts, tears, mangled corpses littering the convention hall, fights breaking out, people spitting on each other. But none of that's happened. In fact, a lot of the bridges that were burnt in all of that drama have been repaired. Now, who knows if they've been repaired with bubblegum and duct tape, or if they're genuinely okay with each other now and friends going forward. There's no telling. I guess we'll have to wait and see a month from now. But there has been something that's developed at TwitchCon that nobody expected. A fucking death trap. A goddamn booby trap, like something Wile E. Coyote would have sprung up to try and catch the Roadrunner. Of course, I'm just exaggerating. It's not supposed to be that way. It's one of those like gladiator combat things. I'm blanking on the name of it, so I'm going to sound like a fucking idiot trying to describe it. But it's those raised platforms above a foam pit where you have like pushing utensils to push your friend off into the foam pit and you win when you're the last one standing. I'll show you a clip of when XQC and Hassan fought each other on them so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure all of you have seen these before. I remember playing on these bad boys back in elementary school during field days, so they've been around for a long time, they're tried and true, and they've always just been good, safe fun. But unfortunately at TwitchCon, it seems the organizers really skimped on the amount of foam necessary to cushion a real fall, because a streamer named Adriana Chechik broke her back in 2 places jumping into the foam pit.
Great victory there.
I can't get out. Are you okay?
She's held down by the Biffle medic.
Gravity.
No, she's fine.
All right, we'll make sure she's okay. Get her out of the pit.
Landed on her tailbone.
Yeah.
Now she lives in the pit now, I kind of think.
You can see that she lands like right on her tailbone and like bounces up a little bit, kind of like that episode in iCarly where Gibby jumps off the ceiling, hits the concrete and bounces a little bit, which was a real stunt performed by a real stuntman who shattered all of his ribs doing that. So this is a pretty brutal injury here, and she had to go to the ER, and she's now getting surgery in order to put a rod in her back in order to help support it. So an absolute life-changing injury experienced here. And she wasn't the only one. Another streamer dislocated her knee in the pit, and then the person she went there with, Eddybot, the person who fell before her, also experienced back pain, but no like permanent injury from that. I'm sure everyone knows this, but I want to vocalize it again. Back injuries last pretty much forever, or at least they can. Even like minor ones will always kind of rear their ugly head from time to time. I remember a few years back now, I had like some kind of like little bruise or something on my L4. I couldn't sit right without it hurting. I couldn't like climb upstairs without my ass just hurting. And that was just like a little baby boo-boo on my back, and that lasted for months. Had to get PT for it. Had to get physical therapy for like a tiny little back injury. And of course, you can always read about the people that have lifelong chronic back pain just from like really simple stuff like sitting in a chair the wrong way for too long, or like the classic prank of pulling a chair out from under someone and the person falls and then has like some kind of disc contusion or like slips a disc or something. And those injuries, they don't ever fully go away. So this, I have no doubt, will have a long-lasting effect on the rest of her life. So it really is like a pretty serious thing. Just a really unfortunate situation, and I don't think this was a Twitch booth. As I understand, this was a completely separate booth from another organization that was just at TwitchCon. And it seems like they really just didn't know how to do this properly, because this just doesn't seem up to code at all. This cannot be the regulation amount of foam required in these pits, because it looks like there's only like 2 layers of foam cubes there. They just like sprinkled them in like breadcrumbs, and then at the bottom of it just seems like it's a fucking slab of concrete. Pure, unapologetic, unforgiving concrete at the bottom. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of cushioned pad there, which is just wild to me. But what's even goofier is the 0 IQ takes I've seen on Twitter about this, blaming Adriana Chechik, saying it's her fault that she got injured, she did it to herself, she should have known better than jumping into the foam pit. Like, you absolute brain-dead troglodyte. It's a foam pit. The entire purpose is to cushion a fall. They're common at, like, trampoline parks, carnivals, like I mentioned in school for field days and shit like that. I have done exactly what she's done, cannonballing into foam pits with no injuries to show for it. I've flipped into foam pits with no injuries to show for it. Even McDonald's, like their ball pits, are probably lighter to land on than this foam pit at TwitchCon. Like, the whole purpose is it is supposed to be there to cushion your fall so something like this, a catastrophic injury, doesn't happen. You are supposed to be able to jump into them. The problem here is it's not a foam pit. It's a foam puddle. And I don't think that information was relayed to the competitors here that took part in this activity. It's not an actual like 3 feet, 4 feet deep foam pit at all. You can tell by looking at other videos from the event, when people are walking around in the foam pit, the foam cubes barely make it to their knees. So it's not very deep to begin with. So it's not even a deep foam pit, thus you shouldn't be jumping in it, yes, but no one's going to know that just by looking at it because we're all trained to see a foam pit and expect it to be like an actual real foam pit where it is up to code and you can jump into it, but this one is not. This is like some bootleg shit that was just shoddily thrown together and is genuinely unsafe because there are multiple injuries that have occurred here, and yet for some reason they kept it open even after the injuries. It's not her fault this happened. She expected it to be like an actual deep foam pit, which it was not. And a lot of people have asked me why I didn't go to TwitchCon. Well, it's because they're trying to kill you out there, it seems. It's unsafe to be there. That's not the real reason. I just don't go to conventions or anything, and I'm certainly not fucking flying to San Diego or wherever this is to go to it. I'm afraid of flying in the first place. I'm not flying out there, and especially to be around like a ton of people, which I don't even like doing in the first place, I'm not going. But now the cherry on top is these dangerous, life-threatening booths out here. Like, what's next door, I wonder? The catch an arrow out of midair booth or something? Like, good lord. You know, it's just... I'm sure TwitchCon is a lot of fun and this is just a really unfortunate circumstance here, but come the fuck on. This is so easily preventable if you just had more foam. Just be safer with it. And especially at TwitchCon where all the streamers are like gamers. You know, like... I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the most athletic guy in the world. If I was competing in that, I probably would have fallen headfirst, like diving in there by accident after losing my balance. And from the looks of things, I would have absolutely just died there. Just would have hit my head on the bottom of it, died instantly. So I just feel like it's kind of obvious to expect things like this, like, it's a foam pit. Some people like to jump into foam pits. Is this deep enough for that? Probably not. So let's put a pad at the bottom at the very least, or let's put more foam in there. Like, just obvious solutions. I just don't know how this mistake could have even happened in the first place. Now, a lot of people are saying that she should be suing for this, and, you know, I'm not a fucking lawyer. I didn't pass the bar or anything, and I'm certainly not her agent giving her direction on what she should do with her life and her decisions. But I think it is worth mentioning that everyone that went into that arena signed a waiver beforehand, so I don't know if she even could sue if she wanted to. Again, maybe she could. I'm not familiar with the law or anything, but there was waivers that needed to be signed prior to entering into that. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because I think it's very sad. Like, the event overall, from everything I've seen, has been very positive and very overall great for a lot of people. They've had a lot of fun. And like I said, I have no doubt that it's a very fun event, and this is just a really unfortunate booth that's been set up here that doesn't really seem all that safe. And again, I'm not there, so I don't know if there's truly no pad at the bottom of that foam pit. But regardless, it's clearly not a good enough pad if this kind of injury can occur, and this many injuries as well. Because not only has there been an extremely serious one with Adriana Chechik breaking her back in multiple spots, but there have just been a decent amount of injuries in general at that location. So clearly something isn't set up properly if this many people are getting hurt there. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and that's about it. See ya. The algorithm's got me by the sack right now. It's holding my peepers open, Clockwork Orange style, feeding me videos of horrible drivers now. I made 2 videos recently, one with that lady that wouldn't stop texting and driving and then crashed her rented car, and then one about the guy who wouldn't stop drinking and driving and crashed his car multiple times. And because I watched both of those videos, now I'm getting fed tons just like it. And I can't resist yapping about 2 of them in particular. This first one here is despicable. This guy should 100% lose his license forever. He should never be allowed behind the wheel of a vehicle ever again.
Doesn't mean moving in the truck, but I don't think he'll say, hey, Al, I need to move in the truck, or not, I gotta go, or anything like that.
Crash detected.
Oh my god, dude, I just fucking wrecked Israel's truck, dude.
911 assist.
Oh my god!
A 911.
Oh my god! Oh my god, dude! Holy Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh!
This guy's acting like a toddler in the backseat of his parents' car. He just has both hands glued to his tablet. Allegedly, according to the post title, he was playing Candy Crush on it. I don't know if that's confirmed. It could have been Clash Royale. Maybe he was trying to get some Robux or something. Who's really to say? But what's very clear is he is not looking up at the road at all. This isn't even distracted driving. It is the act of not driving. He is fundamentally just behind the wheel of a missile right now because he doesn't even look at the road a single time. He is just completely fixated on that tablet. And apparently it's not even his truck in the first place. He has turned this vehicle into a weapon. He is not operating at all. He just has his foot on the gas, fucking plowing straight forward come hell or high water. He is just playing on his tablet the whole time. This is like, I guess, what happens when an iPad kid gets their driver's license? I don't know. This is scary stuff, though. He truly should never be allowed to operate a vehicle again. I'd even go a step forward. He should never even be behind the wheel of anything that resembles a vehicle again. Like even those like electric toy cars that toddlers ride around in, he shouldn't be allowed to touch one of those. He shouldn't even be allowed on a fucking scooter. And I don't even mean just an electric scooter. I mean even just like a push-powered razor scooter he shouldn't even be behind. So he crashes this truck that, again, doesn't even belong to him. And he doesn't even seem to care that he just hit another car, which has human beings in it. At no point does he ever even express any concern for their well-being. Instead, he just keeps reiterating like how bad it is for him. And then he starts like playing Bop It with every single thing he can find in the truck. Like he just starts like fondling every single thing in that vehicle's cabin. I don't know if he was trying to fish around for the tablet because he can't be separated from it. That's probably what he was doing. He was probably desperately looking for that tablet. But you can hear him talking to somebody on the phone, and he just doesn't even seem to care that he may have just potentially killed people there. He is just only focused on like, oh, jeepers, zoinks. I just wrecked Israel's car here. Oh, goodness gracious. Shucks. What a shame. This one made me furious. I don't know how it's possible someone would do what he did. Both hands off the wheel, staring deeply into a tablet like it's a fucking crystal ball that you're trying to see the future with. Anyway, I'll stop yapping about that douchebag. The next one here is a viral one. As far as like bad distracted drivers go that I've covered recently, like with the woman who wouldn't stop texting, the guy who wouldn't stop drinking, this guy that wouldn't stop playing mobile games on his tablet, she is not in that category. She was filming an Instagram reel for Hit Me Baby One More Time and then crashed.
Hit me, baby, one more time!
So apparently the car slid on the gravel and then flipped over like this. And it came right after her saying, "Hit me baby one more time." So it was pretty crazy circumstances there. Now I don't know if there's a longer clip that exists, like how distracted she was with the recording here. Like if she was doing like a full-blown fucking music video here for Hit Me Baby One More Time, her karaoke version of it. But she doesn't seem to be like overly focused on the phone. She glanced at it briefly, so it doesn't seem like it's to the level of like some streamers who are like reading chat and donations and shit and not paying attention. Though I do think just don't record while driving. That's the simplest, most obvious solution here. Just don't do things that distract you while driving, like fucking filming Instagram reels and TikToks and shit behind the wheel. It's just not worth endangering your life and the life of everyone else on the road. When I was younger, my perspective on it was a little different, so I filmed like a couple of like rant videos while driving a long time ago. And nowadays, I just wouldn't do that. I was under the impression that as long as you're paying attention to the road, who really cares if it's being filmed as well? But I wouldn't do that anymore these days. It's just not worth the risk at all. Just pay attention to the road. Now, she caught a lot of shit from people for grabbing her phone after they crashed. Like, oh, look at this generation. They just have to get to their phone first thing to do after a crash. Typical. I personally find that take a little silly. Because I don't know how many of you have been in accidents, but it's a very panic-inducing affair. And typically, once you make sure you're safe, or if you got involved in an accident with others, you make sure other people are safe, the first thing you do is call for help. Like, in this case, it seems she recognized it was a single-car accident, so after she, came to, the first thing she does is reach for her phone, presumably to call for help. Meanwhile, people were clowning on her, saying oh, look, she had to make sure she posted her reel before doing anything else, when I don't think that was the case at all. I don't think the first thing she scrambled to do after being upside down in her vehicle was try and post the clip for some internet updates. I imagine she tried to get the phone to call for help. So I don't think this was like a really odd reaction to what happened here from her to like grab at her phone or something. Again, most people are going to call 911 in an emergency, which this is. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take for me. I couldn't tell you. Anyway, though, just wanted to blabber about this. That's about it. See ya. I just had a couple of friends send me a clip where Jack Doherty just crashed his McLaren on stream while reading chat or maybe texting on his phone. And I just cannot fight the urge to make fun of this goober again. Insulting Jack Doherty is a God-given right, and I would be a fool to deny that. I can't resist. It's like trying to hold in a sneeze. I just have to let it out. I have to clown on Jack Dorky. The most punchable face on the planet here belongs to our protagonist, Jack. He is right now driving his McLaren, and his cameraman is doing a great job for the insurance company here, showcasing that he is not doing his due diligence of being a safe driver. So, the clip starts with him staring at his phone, staring a fucking hole through it. I'm pretty sure he's reading the chat, though it is possible he's reading texts or replying to texts. Either way, though, he is distracted driving, and it's about to be a disaster.
Oh, fuck. No, watch out, watch out. Oh, fuck, open the door, open your door. We're locked in here. Holy shit.
This is clearly a case of Jack Doherty not paying any attention, leading to his car hydroplaning. Now, I know hydroplaning can happen to even the best drivers, which Jack Doherty is not. He is looking at his phone numerous times. We have the cameraman who's filming this like Cloverfield, and actually did a really good job of like showing us the monster. Every time we see him, it's like he's been hypnotized by his phone. He's like in a trance. He's a zombie behind the wheel. He was never paying attention to the road, even though it's raining out. And then he had the chutzpah to step on the gas. You can like hear him accelerate. And he's barely even lucid right now because he's too distracted by his phone, and that leads to it hydroplaning.
Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Oh, Michael. Are you okay? Yeah. Holy fuck. Oh my god, bro. There's no fucking... Michael, here. Michael, do you have your film on that phone too?
His friend is clearly injured, bleeding from his head. He is fucking leaking. And Jack Doherty doesn't give a shit. He hands him the phone to keep filming for stream and then tells him to film on an additional phone as well to get multiple angles, I guess. He was trying to make like a 360-degree video out of it. I have no clue. Michael, shake it off for a second. Look, I know you might have a concussion. I know you're bleeding all over the place. But you have to remember, we're in the middle of content right now. So I'm going to need you to get your act together, rub some dirt in it, and double fist these phones and film me, okay? I'm the superstar here, and I'm going to put on a little bit of a show here for the content, okay? And if you're not alright with it, you're fired. You can take a hike. You can scram buster, get out of town, okay? Like, if this is me, if I was Michael, that would show loud and clear, Jack doesn't give a fuck about me. This little vermin is not a friend at all. He's a little content ghoul, a little goblin. I knew Jack Doherty was pathetic, but I had no idea he was this pitiful that this is considered content to him. Like, how can you possibly have so little shame? You just totaled your car with video evidence of you staring at your phone for most of your driving. And this car, like, fucking exploded like Humpty Dumpty here. The way, you'll see his car fully in a moment, it looks like when you drive backwards in a NASCAR game in the early 2000s. Like, he did a number on it, completely totaled it. It is a miracle that neither one of them are in a coffin right now. And instead of doing the sensible thing of stopping the stream and getting medical care to your friend who clearly needs it, he instead doubles down and wants even more footage of it, even though he looks like the biggest fucking idiot on the planet for this. An unlovable, unlikable, irredeemable loser.
No. Oh my god. My car is totaled, bro. Oh my God, this is cooked.
I don't even think he cares. I think this guy is so far gone. He's such a sociopath, disconnected from reality. I actually think he's viewing this in his head as a positive thing. Like, oh, there's going to be a lot of views. This is actually going to be like really good for the brand. Like, it honestly seems like he's putting on a CW level acting performance. Oh, bro, this is cooked. No, it's busted. Once again, not even really asking his friend if he's okay at all. He asked him one question, asking if he was good, and that was it. Immediately handed him the phone to keep filming, and then asked him to film additional content as well with the other one. Like, this guy, I don't believe, has a soul left in his fucking body. And also, I would argue that this McLaren was totaled even before this accident, because that paint job is a crime. That looks atrocious. It's like your grandma's polka dot wallpaper from the 70s. I don't know what that's even supposed to be. It looks like it was taken to a paintball tournament and used as cover. Maybe it was. Maybe that was the whole thing. But either way, that McLaren was living a sad life looking like that. And honestly, it might be for the best that it was put out of its misery. Because Jesus Christ, that is an awful, awful paint job on that vehicle. Definitely worth mentioning that he got banned for this. Kick actually banned him. I don't know if it's a permanent ban or not, but as of right now, his account is gone.
What's your name? My name is Jack. I was driving and then my tires just slipped and I lost control and then landed here. I was all the way on the left side and I just went there and then I don't know what happened. I just lost control and the next thing you know I'm just going tears. And I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no shit you don't know what happened because you weren't looking. You were buried on your phone, brother. This is probably the most honest thing I've ever heard pop out of this douchebag's mouth, and it's entirely accidental. Like, he is being honest. He doesn't know what happened. He didn't have his eyes on the fucking road at all. Though I do think it would be very important information to share with this officer, the video footage. I think they'd really like to take a peek at that, Jack. You love to promote your streams and everything. Why not let the officer take a peek at what happened right before the accident? I'm sure that would be really interesting in helping them figure out how this mysterious crash could have possibly taken place. This whole time, he still hasn't really checked on his friend at all, who is still bleeding profusely. And it's not until more authorities get there, as well as like medical personnel, that he even pretends to care, like comes over and gives him a hug. But outside of that, he doesn't really care about Michael. And if that was me, I would 100% be suing Jack for that. He's made it clear as the fucking patches on my face where my beard doesn't grow that he does not care that I am injured and it's his fault. All he cares about is me filming him. So, fuck him. I would 100% be opening a case against Jack. There is video evidence of him texting and driving or reading chat while driving, just being distracted and causing this crash that has now injured me. So, I'd be coming for a little piece of that pie, because he is a piece of shit. I don't think Michael will do that, and I don't even know if it would be like a slam dunk case if he tried, but this would absolutely be where the friendship would stop, if that was me in this case. That shit is just so foul.
They want me to be back. They don't want me to be here.
For some reason that not even science can explain, Jack Doherty takes this as an opportunity to bust out the pepperonis here and get his shirt off. I don't understand why he likes to be shirtless so much when he has a body that's built like a bag of milk. I thought for like a split second maybe the medical personnel asked him to do that so they could check him for like abrasions or anything like that. But I don't think they did, because he did that like in the middle of a conversation with the authorities. And he does get into like the back of an ambulance to get examined, but from what I can hear and what I can tell, they never asked him to take his shirt off. Plus, they probably would have done that in the ambulance as opposed to just on the road. But I don't know for sure. Most of the time, Jack Doherty does have his shirt off for some reason, and not even totaling his McLaren and splitting his friend's face open is enough to stop him from doing that. That shirt's coming off, come hell or high water, it doesn't matter. And man, we are all the worse off for it. Like, Jesus Christ. Overall, though, it is very lucky that everyone else on the road was safe from Jack Doherty's negligent wrath here behind the wheel of the McLaren. He didn't hit any other vehicles from what I can see, and it's also very lucky that neither him nor his friend died from this. So, all things considered, He got very lucky with this crash because it could have been a lot worse. Maybe this will be a wake-up call for him. I doubt it. I don't think he has the capability of actually learning and growing and evolving, but we'll see. That's about it. See ya. I'm not TMZ and I'm not your school's local newspaper, but I do want to actually talk about a news story today that I'm sure you're all aware of by now. Alec Baldwin fatally shot cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of his new movie Rust. He also caught the director in the crossfire as well, who was shot and injured but is okay. Unfortunately, Hutchins died. It was a tragic accident where a prop gun Alec Baldwin was handling actually had a live round in it, which ultimately ended in someone's death. I first heard about this minutes after it happened. I was streaming at the time, and I swear to God, the people in my chat are like the fastest on-scene reporters to everything. If there was a nuclear missile launch somewhere in the world, I would probably know about it before the US government because my chat would fucking tell me. Somehow, they just have like the cutting-edge information the second it happens. It honestly felt like whoever was telling me about this in Twitch chat was actually on the set when it was happening. So I've been following this very closely over the last couple days, and this is more than just a tragic accident. This is gross negligence and a disturbing look into how little movies care about the safety of the crew. I'll get into that in a minute, but just in case you don't know what happened, Alec Baldwin is in an upcoming movie called Rust, and I don't know what the movie's about. I haven't looked that up because I think that's the least important part about this whole thing, but I guess in the movie he plays some kind of gun-wielding badass. He's playing fucking Doom guy, so he's running around akimbo guns and going crazy because guns are a big part of the movie, it seems. And in one of the shots they were doing, he was handling the gun and he shot and killed the cinematographer and injured the director. It was supposed to be a prop gun without live rounds, obviously. Sorry to hit you with a cold water and tell you Santa Claus isn't real, but movies are fake. Those guns you see in the movies aren't shooting real bullets or anything, at least they're not supposed to. But in this case, the gun Alec Baldwin was handling had a real round in it. Now, a lot of people immediately compared this to the tragic death of Bruce Lee's son on the set of The Crow. Brandon Lee died because of a malfunctioning prop weapon where a projectile actually did come out of what was supposed to be a blank and it killed him. A lot of people compared it to that, but this is totally different. This is so much worse. So I read this article today because this is still a developing story. Everyone's trying to figure out what the fuck happened here. Like the Tooth Fairy came in and delivered a real round into a prop gun. How did this happen, you know? And so the investigation's been launched, and apparently the entire filming of this movie was a fucking disaster. Crew members weren't allowed to stay nearby, so they had to drive 50 miles each day just to get to set. The conditions were abominable, which is obviously leading to them being miserable. So a lot of them wanting to quit and just wanting better conditions, and in response to that, they just started hiring non-union workers to replace the union workers. The fucking prisoners on Alcatraz Island were treated with more respect than the crew on Rust. It sounds like working on Rust would have been worse than working as a custodian in hell. At least maybe in hell the demons would have treated you better than the Rust team did. I would have rather been licking gas station toilet seats clean than go work on Rust. But not only were the conditions absolutely horrible and unacceptable to a damn near criminal degree, I would argue, but it was also like going to an active war zone every time you stepped on the set of the movie. Because this wasn't the only time there was an accidental discharge of the firearms on set. It happened 3 times allegedly. Now I don't know if it means that a live round was fired each time or if it just means the gun wasn't fully cold. When they called cold gun, it was supposed to mean like there was nothing in there. So it could mean like the other 3 times it was like blank rounds that fired. But even still, that is a massive mistake to make. You call cold gun and a blank fires is still very dangerous. You have to be in control. You have to know what the fuck is in the guns. There were multiple discharges of firearms throughout filming. So it's like that scene in Zoolander where they're having like a fucking gasoline fight. Like, they didn't care. They were using like real guns, it seems. It wasn't even like props at that point. They just went to like the local, gun store, just purchased a lot and like, yeah, this will be fine for the movie. We'll just dodge the bullets or some shit. So I guess you just show up the set and every time there's a scene with a gun in it, you have to like be ducking for cover just in case. People just wandering around fucking dual-wielding pistols, firing them to the air like that guy from Looney Tunes, what's his name? Wiley Sharterton, the fucking guy with the beard. Yosemite Sam, just over there fucking blasting into the sky. So obviously the crew didn't feel safe, which led to half a dozen of them leaving just hours before the fatal shooting. Like, all of the signs were there for a disaster, but they were ignored because apparently they were trying to really rush the movie out, so they just didn't care. So I don't know how the fuck, like, a firearm discharges one time and you're not like, holy shit, this is something we really need to, you know, take a hold of, grab by the fucking nutsack and fix. Because that is just that's a recipe for disaster. That is asking for a tragedy, and that's exactly what happened. They were begging for it. Just read this again. Alec Baldwin's stunt double fired 2 rounds in a gun that they said was cold. That shit is not cold. That is clearly not cold. If that's cold, then my cock is 16 inches long. Like, it's unreal. They had so many chances to fix the problem. They had 3 discharges, according to that quote there. That means they had multiple opportunities to get things under control, and they just didn't. Dude just kicking back, smoking a pipe, saying, surely it won't happen a 4th time. You know, like, that was their solution. Like, okay, now that we've got all the bad luck out of the way, now it's smooth sailing here. And then, of course, what happened, Alec Baldwin, during his scene, he's supposed to unholster his weapon, and they said the gun was cold, as they did the last time, and it wasn't cold, as it wasn't last time. So he brought it out of his holster, and it fired a live round, which shot and killed Hutchins and injured the director behind her. A completely avoidable tragedy if anyone on set bothered to give a shit about safety. Now, of course, the crew cared about safety, clearly, because they were protesting and they left because they felt so unsafe. But I'm talking about, like, the higher-ups that were in charge of making these decisions and making sure things were safe. They clearly didn't give a fuck. They just kept rushing and cutting corners. And then their solution to everything was, okay, let them leave. We'll replace them and keep using these fucking actual guns. You know, if you can dodge a bullet, we can dodge a lawsuit. So let's really get out there and do our best. I'm obviously not part of the Trust and Safety Board of the United States of America, but I think if, while filming a movie, 3 times your prop guns are called cold, even though they're shooting even blanks, I think you need to really take a moment to reevaluate your crew and get everything under control and maybe start to think like, so there's a problem here. Clearly we're not all on the same page. This department's kind of lacking. Let's fix that. But hey, that's just me. You know, I'm not a director, you know, part of a film board. It's just so fucking sad. And what's even worse is the people on Twitter who are saying Alec Baldwin needs to go to prison for this. Why? It's not his fault. He was told the gun was cold and was just doing the scene as he was instructed. It's not like he went in there like the spirit of vengeance and took the gun and just started shooting people. He was told the gun was cold and he was filming a scene. And unfortunately, the production didn't do a good job of making sure there wasn't a real gun with real bullets on set. I don't even know why that would be there. You know, again, I'm not like in the film board or the film industry very much, you know, apart from being the world's best actor, but I can't imagine why during any movie you'd need a real magazine of real bullets next to all of your blanks and empty guns. Why is that there? You know, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like something out of like a fucking hitman mission where you're trying to assassinate someone. Why the fuck would there be real bullets mixed in with all of the fake ones? And it blows my fucking mind. It's crazy. Such a sad and yet entirely avoidable tragedy. I just wanted to talk about it because this story has been truly wild. And I feel horrible for Alec Baldwin. I feel horrible, obviously, for the family of Hutchins and everyone on that crew. Because what a sad set of circumstances and an awful thing that happened. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this. That's about it. See ya.